Welcome, everybody, to Love Across the Pond podcast. Hello, we are two Yanks and a Brit discussing all things relationship. Now, today's topic is one of my favourite topics. It is about the power and the magic of rituals and routines. And the crowd goes wild. But first, let's meet your crew. I am Ali Hendry. My pronouns are she, her. I am from Brighton in the UK.
Hey y'all, I'm Lena. I'm in the southern US in Tennessee, and I use pronouns she or they.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kenzie Wilcox. My pronouns are she and her, and I am from the northern part of the US, I guess you could say, right smack dab in the middle of the state of Minnesota.
Fantastic. Now let us do our usual ritual of getting to know you question. Kenzie, have you got a question for us?
I do. I have the best question, one of the best that I came up with 2 seconds ago. If you were a song, what would that be?
Oh,
Mm,
that's good.
Uh,
that is good.
Okay. There is a country metal song called 6 Feet Deep, and I love it. And it's like super country lyrics, but it is hard metal like music, and that is this one right here.
Ooh, I love it. I wrote that down as something to add to my playlist. Thank you. 6 feet deep.
That sounds good. I don't know about you two, but I get obsessed with a song and I just play it over and over and over. And the song that I'm listening to at the moment is a new musician called Ruti, Ruti, and the song is called Lungs, and it's about love and how love is like your lungs. It's like it's air, it's breath, it's everything, it's life. And it's such a beautiful, soulful song. Yeah, so that would be my song. But
Oh,
it'll be a different one next week because I just get so obsessed with new music. I love new music. I love learning different ways of music being put together. And I think that's the one. Oh, you're writing it down, Kenzie.
of course I am. Absolutely. I'm so excited for these. Lyrics, as empaths and just human beings mean everything. And so I really think it tells a lot about a person of the song that they choose. Mine would be either Standing Outside the Fire. Who's that? Is that Garth Brooks? Um, from way back when. Or again, another oldie but a goodie. Living on a Prayer.
Oh, that's
I know.
brilliant.
I know. The lyrics and everything like that just really speak to me. They move me. Same with Standing Outside the Fire. So such
Ah,
great, impactful songs.
my
So
sister was a
thank
massive John Bon Jovi fan, so you and her would get on very well.
It's a good one, right? It's a good
Yeah.
one. She's a
My
classic.
childhood best friend's mother was obsessed with Bon Jovi. And every time I went to her house, it's all we heard the whole time. We'd get in trouble if our music was too loud because it interrupted her music. Like,
That is legitimate.
Yeah.
Like, sorry, not sorry. Yep. Love
Okay.
that.
Let's get stuck into rituals and routines. Now, this is a topic that you two both know very well. It's a topic that comes up a lot in the coaching space because what we're doing is we are helping our clients to look at where they're at, look at where they want to get to. And sometimes that means choosing or using rituals and routines to move to that new place, to bring in well-being practices, to look at different ways of approaching situations through using those rituals and routines. So let's have a little bit of a dig into what we're talking about with rituals and routines. Esther Perel does a really brilliant definite delineation between the two. And she says that when we talk about the differences between rituals and routines, a routine would be laying the table. It's something that you do every day for a lot of us. It might come with something that's to do with a family routine. So a certain person that's their job to lay the table. So it becomes a routine. It becomes something that adds an identity to that family, to that dynamic. And that would be something that you do without thinking. You know what goes where, and you just do it. A ritual has more meaning attached to it. And again, it can be something that happens fairly regularly, but a ritual using that same idea would be celebrating someone's birthday or a meaningful event and getting out the special glasses or the special cutlery or the special plate or the special bowl, whatever that is. So you have ritualized that situation. You've brought in more meaning around it. We think about rituals and routines when we talk about relationships. And again, it can solidify a certain relationship facet. So, for example, somebody leaving to go to work, you might be staying in the house, you might be leaving a little bit later. If as they leave, you might have a ritual that you do whereby you walk to the door with them and give them a hug and a kiss and a wave and that sort of thing. When they come home, you might go to the door and greet them instead of just sitting there and keeping your eyes glued on your phone. Those are all good things that support your relationship. And in fact, those two things are also within a secure attachment behavior because they are marking someone's comings and goings. So you can absolutely use rituals and routines to good effect within your romantic relationships. And in fact, any kinds of relationships. You might think about the workplace. Oh yeah, that person always comes in. They always say hello to everybody. They always say, does anyone want a cup of tea before they sit down? And that's the thing that they always do. And that's their part of their identity and how they are. Someone else might just come in the morning. They put their bag down, they check their emails, and then they say good morning to everybody. So it's looking at how different people operate and seeing how that works for you and the communication and the dynamics between those situations. What's coming up for people so far around rituals and routines? What do you think about the topic?
I love the topic mostly because I'm autistic and everything is a routine in my life. And I recently got to experience a ritual with a coven for the first time, and that was so much fun. We did a new moon in Cancer ritual, and that was so much fun. I loved it. It was so powerful. So that was really cool. But what's really making me so excited is I do something in a healthy attachment way, and that is awesome because I meet my wife at the door every time when she comes home, or like right at the door, like on the way, like if I'm in the kitchen cooking and she comes in the front door, maybe we meet in the middle, but like there's always like me putting effort into it. And I never realized that, but I'm actively working on being better and healthily attached in my relationships. And so that was like a really big win for me just to hear that.
I love that. I love that. And so for those of you who are listening and you're not sure about attachment theory, what we're talking about is how when you are, this is the theory, this is what attachment theory is, and it works very well. It is Eurocentric. It doesn't take into consideration indigenous populations and families that grow up within a community. So we're talking about a situation where is a carer or a couple of carers. How you are loved is how you then feel you should love others. So your experience as a baby carries forwards into adulthood, and there's been lots of studies around that. So the aim is to grow up in an environment where your carers are exhibiting secure attachment behaviors. And that means marking comings and goings. So you can imagine the baby, and as you go out into the other room to put a wash on or something, you say to the baby, I'm coming back, everything's going to be okay. You make sure they've got everything they need. You leave them, and then you come back at the time you said you were going to come back, and you wide eyes welcoming, hey, how are you doing? Cuddling, hugging. So that comings and goings is how we should be taking those behaviors through into our romantic relationship. So yay to you. That's exciting.
I love it. And we're going to dive more into attachment theory very soon. So I'm really excited about that too. And we're going to when we do it, I want to make sure we focus on the trauma side of things because hello,
Yes.
trauma. But yeah, exactly what you said. Thanks for breaking that down.
I love attachment theories, especially since I'm adopted. So it just rings into different parts of my life of, wow, my caretakers, and definitely we can talk about that, next episode. But I'm so excited to dive deeper into that one because my caretakers utilize the secure attachment, which I'm very grateful for. I don't feel a lot of adoptees have received that type of love and care. So I'm one of the most fortunate ones. I do feel that, and my parents, thank God, carried that through as well, even though they had about 6 others to take care of at the time too. But when it comes to and you know what, actually, my husband has now carried that through into our relationship, very secure based. When he's washing the dishes, I just like to come up behind him and just start cuddling him, and then kind of break him out of that routine. Because it just makes me so happy and giggly, because then he just responds to it as well. And it's just such a loving embrace. And for us, it's so important to have that. So then, what you guys were saying before, so it can delineate onto the kids, so they know what a hug looks like, what those routines look like, what a kiss looks like, and everything. So I'm very happy to be in that type of relationship. So then, not only with each other, but then we can model that to our kids. What I do, those little things as well, like when you were talking, well, habit stacking, right? Routines and rituals is, just for dinner. I usually make the dinner during the week, and Matt just sits there and is my little sous chef. And we both have a glass of wine, and then we're talking, and then the kids come in. So it's just those routines that I look forward to. And because of those things that you build and build and build, that's our relationship. That's our foundation.
Yeah.
And so I hope when our children get bigger, that's not right, grow up, you know what I'm talking about. They look for partners that resemble something like, oh, my parents used to do that. I love that. Especially when we're driving in the car. When I was younger, I loved to see my parents hold hands when they were driving. It just warms my heart. So I make a mental note to do that when Matthew's driving or when I'm driving. And it's those little things that, really stick with you as a child, and then as your relationship grows and blossoms as well. So what a great topic.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. And Kenzie, you mentioned habit stacking. And for those of you who haven't heard of that before, that is from a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. And habit stacking is where you bring in a new habit, which could turn into a ritual or a routine. You bring in a new habit and you stack it on top of something you already do. So as you mentioned, being in the car, you're already in the car, the two of you are in the car, you're driving along, and actually you've decided to stack in a new habit into both being in the car and sitting in the front seat with holding hands, except when they're changing gear, unless you don't need to. So yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay, let's delve into definitions a little bit more. So with both rituals and routines, they have a predictive structure. They can be grounding, calming, and stabilizing. With a routine, so this is something that you do, could be something that you do every day. So that would be the laying the table thing. The routine is automatic. It creates familiarity, and it can help us to develop skills. With a ritual, with something that's ritualized, it tends to be intentional, it creates excitement, it's meaningful, it guides us through transitions. For example, marriage, funerals, birthdays, all of those sorts of things are forms of rituals. So I've got a few questions that I want to ask you, delve into the rituals, routines, habits that you have got. And thank you for sharing already some of those things that you do. The first one is, have you ever done a healing ritual? And if so, how did that go?
Every night.
Mm.
Every night. I don't know if it's long distance Reiki, probably. But even though they're upstairs, for me, the healing ritual is when I'm laying in bed, right before everything turns off in my brain, is I just cleanse the house with gold and white glitter. And then I cleanse all of the rooms, cleanse the kitchen, and then send that what no longer serves us, back to love and light. And then I ask to fill the holes, fill the gaps with even more love and light. And then I do that to each and every one of the kids. And since I'm very visual, what I visualize is a French press, right? And then the kids are, stay with me on this, the kids are the actual apparatus. And so as I'm like going down, it's releasing all the stuff and releasing into back into the earth and then cleansing that out, with all of the gold glitter and everything like that. And so I'm literally doing a French press to each and every one of the children every single night and asking, for protection and just, positive energy and, thoughts and vibrations and stuff. So yeah, you can definitely notice a difference. I feel when I do that, a lot more intentionally versus like saying a bedtime prayer. It's just kind of habit. But when I literally go in and just do that a little bit more, it's like, oh, oofta oofties. It definitely changes the dynamics of everyone and they sleep a lot better too. So,
Wow.
That's
yeah, it's
I
good.
love
It's a good one.
French pressing your children sounds
Yeah.
like me. I love it. So when you ask the question, the first thing I went to is Reiki or like in-person healing things. And I was like, I mean, not really. But then I kind of thought about it, and I'm a swimmer. And I grew up competitively swimming all the way through college, like really hardcore swimming. And I loved to swim, and I don't do it as much anymore, but up until about a year ago, I was swimming 5 days a week. And when I would finish my swimming for an hour, I would get into the hot tub. And then after I finished the hot tub, I would sit in the sauna for a little while before I went and showered and went on. And those things were all about healing my muscles. So I guess technically, yes, I have. And nowadays, I think that I do that through probably yoga and meditation, and then through shadow work journaling because I'm very actively working through some shadow work things right now. So I guess yeah, I have. I guess I do on a very regular basis.
Oh, I love that. Love a bit of journaling. I've done heartbreak healing rituals, and this is something that I do with my clients as well. And the most recent one of those was writing on bits of paper all the things that I wanted to let go of to do with a certain relationship. Some of it was things that I always wanted to say. Some of it was things that I wanted to receive and didn't receive. So it was kind of all the gnarly corners and resentments and unmet needs. And I wrote them down, put them in a box, and thought, I'm going to do something with you. I don't know what, but I'm going to do something with you. And then one evening, I heard a song, and it was the song. And I thought, this is the song that I need to do something with these bits of paper. And so I went outside. It was early evening, a couple of summers ago, and I lit the fire pit, and I played the music, and I put the bits of paper into the fire. And that was so healing and so releasing. It was absolutely heartbreak healing ritual. Yeah.
It's
Yeah, there's a
beautiful.
couple people I could write papers about right now. I'd probably be a little bit more helpful in my life.
That shit works. It does work. It works.
Yeah.
It does.
Okay. Next question. What family routines did you have?
Like growing up or no?
Yeah. Growing up.
Okay, so this one's really an interesting question. Because I have DID, I actually don't remember any of my childhood. I don't remember ever doing anything at all before the age of 19. So I don't know of any routines that I did growing up, at least none that were positive. Um, I think that one that if it's okay, I tweak it a little bit so I can still put something out there. Um, how I'm changing that now with my family is that we have a bedtime and a morning routine every day. And there are days where my wife isn't home, and my long distance partner obviously isn't here all of the time. But there is always a basis of routine, and whoever can be involved in it can be involved in it. And it's always at least me and my son, or my son and my wife. And that has been really powerful. We bath time. We walk before bath. We do bath time. After bath time, he gets some wind down time, which usually involves him finishing off a show he didn't get to watch earlier. And then I come in and I scratch his back and I lay in bed and just cuddle with him, and we talk, and I ask him, what was the best part of your day? And right now it's always huggy buggies. I mean, seriously, this kid is obsessed with wanting to just always be huggy buggied. And it's so cute. And so um and then I ask him, like, what do you want to tell me about? And sometimes he'll tell me like 15 things from a video he watched, or from something he learned, or from a thing he did that day. And then sometimes he's like, I don't have anything to tell you. I'm ready for bed. But either way, he knows that it's happening. And last night I forgot to go in and scratch his back. I was so tired. I laid down and I just like started going to sleep. And he comes in, he says, what about my back scratches and my joke? Because he recently started adding a joke. So every night I tell him a joke. I started looking up Minecraft jokes for him because he's obsessed with it. And so that has been like the thing, and he loves it.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I think that's great to bring in what you're doing now as well, and thinking, actually, I might be doing things from a parenting viewpoint that are what I needed and what I wanted and I didn't get. And that's amazing motivation for parenting that is powerful. Yeah. Kenzie, what about you?
I love that, Lena. And doing the curiosity too, what questions do you have me, is mind blowing. It just like really helps them build up that confidence that they can ask anything, and you're a safe place and person to ask those questions too. So like, keep going. From growing up, actually, which I do with my children now, is dinner time. Dinner time. Like every night, you have to sit at the table. We have to have dinner together, all at the same time, because they're young enough now that we can still do that. But it's a sacred time. It's like, do not mess with that. Do not futz with it. Between like 5:15 and 6:15 is just no one. There's no activities. There's no nothing. Like if we have to shift, then we can shift. But by golly, we're gonna sit down every single night and have dinner. And so we just build into that routine and build into that ritual. And it's fascinating because then we do the rose, thorn, and rosebud, right? Pretty much every night. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like what was really good no, okay. What was really good about your day? What was a thorn in it? Like what happened that you maybe would have liked to switch? Which would be the thorn, right? And then the rosebud is, what are you excited about tomorrow? What are you looking forward to tomorrow? Which is like a bud growing. I know. Isn't that adorable?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or we do like our 3 favorite things, and our 3-year-old says stuff from like last year and everything. It's like,
Oh,
yeah,
we've
it's sacred.
bedtime routines are the best. My favorite family routine with my daughter, and she's nearly a teenager now, and we still do it, is, what are your 3 favorite things from today? And we do it every time without fail since she's been able to talk. And sometimes we go, oh, I've got more than 3. Are we allowed? And we sort of play a game of, yeah, you can have more than 3, you can have 4, you can have 5. And then we go, can I have the same thing as you? Yeah, you can have the same thing as me. So we sort of add in other little bits and pieces. So yeah. When I was thinking about rituals and routines from my childhood, the first thing that I was thinking about was what we used to call chores. We all had things that we had to do as part of the family structure. One person has to clean this thing, one person has to bring this in or do this activity. And that for me gave us a real family structure and format that work really well. And I do that as well with my daughter. She's got certain tasks that she has to do, and they will help her in adulthood, those tasks. She might not want to do them, but she's got to do them.
Yeah.
Bedsheet making.
It's Matthew does like the tasks, the chore list and everything like that, and I do the emotional part.
Ah,
So it's, it's so that those coaching questions and that those coaching techniques. And then Matthew is just like, okay, here's your chore list. So it's really interesting in how we kind of tag team that, and like, this will help you when you get older. I swear to God, if you can identify your emotions now, figure out what to do with them and release them, it will help you so much. Sorry to interrupt, but yes, it's incredible.
yeah. I love that. Right. So this question is about you working with your clients, and I'm interested to know if your clients have started any new rituals or routines while they've been working with you, and how they've supported their journeys and their outcomes and wishes and wants.
Yeah, so I have 3 things that come up right away that I end up seeing every one of my clients choosing to adapt. And that is drinking more water. And I know that some people are like, wait, what? But we're holistic coaches and we look at people as whole. We don't look at them as broken. And sometimes that means adding a little bit more water because they already have water and they just need a little more. And I love that we don't look at them as broken. That makes me so happy. Anyway, that's beside the point. So drinking more water, journaling, always journaling. And a lot of that does include identifying feelings. With my son, we got to experience ABA therapy for a little while. We won't go into detail on how I feel about that, but my face will say it all. And
Which is
so
great for a podcast.
so with that, we learned about the ABCs of behavior and what goes, the antecedent is what happens before the behavior and then the consequence. And in that, a lot of people don't actually recognize their triggers until they break them down like that. And so a lot of my clients implement ABC journaling, which has been really powerful. And the third one is positive affirmation. Being kind to themselves. We all need to be kinder to ourselves. And I'm speaking to myself right now because I am not nice to myself. I'm very critical of myself. But those are the 3 things that come up right off the bat. And those are things that we put into play daily. But we also try to make sure that we're putting more meaning behind them, that they don't become so automatic that they lose the value. Because when we drink more water, we're taking care of ourselves, we're being kinder to ourselves, and that's going to benefit us when we go to journal that down and we realize, hey, we did this for ourselves today and this is how it affected us. So those are the 3 things that come up for me.
Oh, I love that.
Mine are actually kind of like the chakra colors that I'm wearing right now. You should see my pants. They're like orange and yellow, which is the sacral and then the solar plex. So the sacral, which is like the orangey, has a lot to do with your sexuality and how you feel about yourself, and do you turn yourself on? All of these, and creativity, which stems right from that chakra point. So a lot of the questions and coaching that I do are surrounding exactly that. And that goes into positive affirmations and, all those deeper dives into your sexuality and what that means to you and how you feel about it, how you identify with it, and how to move forward with it. And then the yellow part is finding the joy in the little things. That is like mwah, my chef's kiss right there. I know in the beginning of the podcast series, we said, I dance on the street when I'm running. I find smiles and hearts and everything like that. And so I do encourage my clients to find the joy in the little things. And they absolutely do, whether that's like hot pink nail polish for me, but you know, for them, it's something like that, that they have those little reminders that they can look at every single day. So it's bringing in those two chakras and really doing the shadow work around all of that, which is just, I love getting into that. Yes, please, all day.
Oh, I love that. I've got so many examples, and I think the one that I'm going to pull on is when I'm working with clients who are in their dating season. And we have a lot of apps, don't we, people? And a lot of people use a lot of apps. And what I've helped my clients realize is that they need to move their app usage from a place of routine into ritual. Because if you are always on, first of all, if you're looking at more than one app, get rid of it. Just look at one. Look at one. Don't have 12 or 5 or 3. You're going to be seeing a lot of the same people on them anyway, and you're just spreading out your energies. So have one and have it for a set amount of time that feels right for you. And we're not talking about 2 weeks. We're talking longer than that. So have one app and don't just go to it as and when. Oh, I've got a few 5 minutes here. Make it intentional. Make yourself resourced. Make sure that you have got something after you've been on the app, because you will get a dopamine high and you will keep going on the app to keep getting that dopamine unless you've got an activity that is also going to give you dopamine after you've been on that scrolling situation. So turning it into something that's a lot more intentional, a lot more meaningful, and is a transition to finding that person or those people that you want to have romantic or sexual relationships with. And I think that works really well, having that concept of actually, I do need to move it from it's just something I do and I'm so disheartened and every day to, I am going to turn this into a ritual, a daily ritual. At this time of day, I'm going to intentionally spend half an hour doing this activity.
Not Kenzie's face saying enough for everyone.
Drop the mic by the looks of it.
So many good nuggets here. I don't think I'm going to be dating for a very, 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 very long time after my last encounter. But if I ever decide to download dating apps again, I know exactly what to do now, because I was one of them that you're talking about who had multiple of the apps and saw the same people. And that shit just pissed me off. It just made me mad. Like,
yeah, so why are we doing it? Why are we looking at the same faces on a different app? We're wasting our time.
Brilliant. Just mind-blowing. You should see how many hashtags we're going to have because of this podcast, and exactly what you said. I mean, intentional dating ritual, like, oh my gosh, who knew that you should close out all of those apps and just focus on one? It's intentionality. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise you get exhausted and disheartened and you won't carry on. Yeah. So this main takeaway time, we need a jingle for that. Main takeaway time. What is your main takeaway from our space today?
wait, I have to pick one. Wait, can I be?
I know.
4, 5, 6.
Yeah, right.
You can have as many as you want in 30 seconds.
Oh my goodness, as many as I want quickly so we don't run out of time. Okay.
Yeah, we got 30 seconds.
You know, I think the main takeaway for me is that it is very important to keep rituals as rituals and routines as routines, and making sure that you're differentiating what should be where. Because just like you were saying, Allie, you help people take things from routine to ritual, and I'm trying to help people make sure that their, routines are rituals and they stay there. And it's just really important, because can't we turn anything into something more ritualistic? Even something as simple as what we in the South call setting the dinner table. Okay. We can make that more ritualistic. We can bring in something that brings us that energy and that grounding and that hope of something more than just getting lost in the automatic systems of everyday life, and how much more we can enjoy the things that we do if we can stay mindful in what we're doing.
Mm.
That's
Mhm.
my takeaway.
This is like one of my favorite topics, and I think we say that each and every episode that we do. Because for me, it's just in order to be a lot more fluid, a lot more go with the flow and everything like that, you have to set your foundation first. You have to put your guardrails up. You have to put your boundaries. You have to set your foundation or lay the table. And yes, we call it setting the table. So I love these different European things that are coming in and just sprinkling themselves in. And for me, I love switching things up. I love adding new songs to my playlist that will heighten my routine. I love getting out my purple goblet that I just put in wine, but then bringing that to the dinner table. It's those little things that bring the most joy that really heighten your current routine and or your ritual. So, Lena, it's kind of like bringing that hope, bringing that spark. And yes, we are laying the foundation, but let's just add a little bit more glitter to it if we can and if we want to, shall we? Like just spritz that shit up. So that is what my main takeaway is, sprinkling all of that stuff with glitter a little bit more.
Mm. Mm. Mine is I shall be French pressing my daughter tonight. That's what I shall be doing. I might garnish a little bit of glitter as well and think of you. So she will get thoroughly French pressed with a cleansing ritual tonight and forthwith. And I loved the absolute joy that came out of you, Lena, when you were thinking about your connection with your wife and how secure that is. I felt that, and that was so beautiful. I love how we connect in this space and how we continue our journey together as we form love across the pond. So please do like, comment, share, and subscribe, and we would be forever grateful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks all.